All right, so you know how everyone always jokes about how our phones are listening to us? Well,
Yeah.
turns out it might not just be a joke.
Right.
Apple just had to pay out a pretty big chunk of change to settle a lawsuit.
Yeah, a whopping $95 million.
95 million.
That's not small potatoes.
No, not at all. And it all comes down to Siri.
Oh, Siri, that helpful little voice in our pockets.
Exactly. And the lawsuit claims that Siri was basically eavesdropping on folks.
Eavesdropping, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. And it gets even creepier.
Well, this, I got it here.
So apparently this settlement, this $95 million payout, affects anyone in the U.S. who owned like an iPhone or iPad or anything with Siri on it
I guess
between
specific dates, right?
exactly between September 2014 and the very end of last year, 2024.
Wow, so a whole decade.
Yeah, a ton of people.
A ton of people indeed. And you know what's really interesting?
What's that?
Apple's denying any wrongdoing,
Right,
but they're still paying out.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to deep dive into today.
Unpacking this whole Siri situation.
Exactly. Are we all just walking around with tiny spies in our pockets?
And what does this mean for our privacy going forward?
So let's get into the nitty-gritty. What were the actual accusations in this lawsuit?
Well, the main claim is that Siri was accidentally recording people.
Accidentally.
Yeah, like you wouldn't even know it was happening.
So like I'm just chatting with a friend and Siri's just...
Potentially, yeah. The lawsuit alleges that Siri was sometimes triggered by mistake, not by you saying, "Hey Siri," but maybe by some random sound.
a sound that Siri thought was, "Hey Siri,"
Exactly. And then it would just start recording everything.
even private conversations.
Even those, which is kind of unsettling when you think about it.
Definitely unsettling, especially because they were also accused of sharing these recordings.
Oh, with whom?
Well, that's the thing with third parties, potentially even advertisers.
Hold on. So you're telling me that Siri might have been recording my private conversations and then sending them off to companies who want to sell me stuff?
That's the allegation, and that's a major privacy violation.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Not cool at all, and that's a big part of why this became a class action lawsuit.
Right, because it could have affected so many people.
Exactly, a whole class of people who use Siri.
Makes sense. But here's the thing.
Okay.
Apple settled without actually admitting they did anything wrong.
So what's the legal play there?
Well, sometimes it's just easier and cheaper to settle.
Even if you're not guilty.
Exactly. Going to trial can be a long and expensive process.
So it's kind of like a business decision.
Yeah, weighing the costs and benefits.
And I guess for a company like Apple, 95 million might not be that big of a hit.
True, it's a drop in the bucket for them.
Right. And what about the people affected by this?
Well, each person who's eligible might get like $20.
$20.
Yeah, which is
Just not much.
yeah, more symbolic than anything.
But I guess the bigger issue here is the whole question of voice assistant privacy.
Absolutely. We're so used to having these devices at our beck and call.
Right. They're convenient.
Super convenient, but are we giving up too much for that convenience?
That's the real question, isn't it?
It is, because think about it. Every time you use Siri or Alexa or Google Assistant, you're giving them access to a ton of information about you.
Your location, your contacts, your browsing history.
Everything. And this case shows us that there's a real possibility of that information being misused.
Even if it's accidental, even if it's just Siri mishearing something.
And what's even scarier is that this isn't just an Apple problem.
You're saying other companies are doing this too.
Well, they've faced similar lawsuits. Google, Amazon, the whole gang.
So this is like an industry-wide issue.
Seems like it.
So where do we go from here?
That's the big question. How do we enjoy the convenience of these voice assistants?
Without feeling like we're constantly being spied on.
Right, because let's face it, they are listening.
So what can we do?
Well, there are a few possibilities.
Like what?
We could push for stricter regulations laws that clearly define what data these companies can collect and how they can use it.
That makes sense.
Right.
More oversight.
Exactly. Or maybe we give users more control.
Like a setting where you can choose exactly what Siri has access to.
Exactly. You decide what level of privacy you're comfortable with.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
More transparency and control for the user.
That could be a huge step in the right direction.
It really makes you think about how much we're sharing with these devices.
It does. And we need to be aware of the risks.
Definitely. And I think that's a good place to leave it for today.
Yeah. Food for thought for all of us.
Definitely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Go ahead.
In a world where our devices are getting smarter by the day, where's the line between convenience and our right to privacy?
It's a question we all need to ask ourselves.
How much are we willing to give up for a little bit of digital help?
Something to ponder?
For sure. And if you want to learn more about this whole Siri situation,
Yeah, we've got a bunch of links and resources down in the description.
so be sure to check those out.
And until next time, stay vigilant And keep those microphones on mute.
Or maybe just unplug altogether.
There's always that option.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Catch you next time.